Do you want to explore magical locations with unique events and new magic items? Do you want to bring Lancelot, Gilgamesh, or even Achilles to your table? Are you interested in magical glyphs that enhance your weapons and armor? Well, if you said yes to any of those questions, we've got books that offer all of those things and much more in the latest episode of D&D New Releases. So let's get started. Hi, it's Splinterverse. Welcome to another episode of D&D New Releases, where we offer first impressions of new third-party products for Dungeons & Dragons. We cover a selection of titles from Dungeon Masters Guild and DriveThruRPG each week. The titles are presented in alphabetical order, and all of them are linked in the video description. Purchasing the books using those links helps the channel, but you can also support us by purchasing one of our best-selling books. Our newest release, Dragonlance Companion, offers 180 pages for players and DMs to bring the magical world of Krynn to life. And like many of our books, it's available in hardcover and digital format. Our Swarms of the Multiverse offers over 70 brand new creatures, including their associated swarms, instructions on how to make your own balanced swarms, and lots of bonus materials such as 4 new demi-planes. Our Feywild Companion offers 150 pages of Feywild fun for players and DMs alike. Also, our book, Fizban's Vault of Draconic Secrets, contains over 50 pages of dragon-themed player options, including a subclass for each class and much more. We've got lineages suitable for any setting, as well as optional lineage rules in our Van Richten's Librum of Lineages. With our Potions Unlocked book, we have over 100 pages of material to take potions to the next level in your game. Please support the channel by purchasing our books using the links in the video description. First, we have a Blademark Guide to the Last War, a player supplement for the world of Eberron, from Nathan Doyle, Andrew Welker, Darren Kinney, William Lawler, and Tully R. Gibney, $9.99 for 49 pages. It says, scribed by Tasker DeCivis from the dictation of Denyth Blademark, who wishes to remain anonymous. This guide provides an inside look at some of the various types of men and women, various types of soldiers that the Blademark encountered on the battlefields of the last war, both as allies and as enemies. Each page is chock full of information for players to use to create characters in tune with the theme of Eberron and with the connection to the world, and more importantly, to the major event that touched the lives of nearly everyone on Khorvaire. So you're going to get a bunch of subclasses, starting with Artificer all the way through Warlock. It says there's no Wizard subclasses, but instead they feature 5 Strixhaven style subclasses. So back when Strixhaven was in the Unearthed Arcana phase, there were some combo subclasses that were spread across multiple classes. So they've got 5 like that in here, as well as some other fun stuff that you can use with Eberron, but you can also use outside of Eberron. So that's pretty cool. And you can see some really nice screen captures here with a really cool layout as well. So let's look inside. Here it lists all the different ones. So for Artificer, they have Strong Arm and War Veterinarian, Barbarian, Path of the Rider, and Path of the Undaunted. And then for Rogue, you have Avenger and Thug, Sorcerer, Iron Soul, Morningborn, and a bunch of other things, including feats. And what's really nice is this preview allows you to see the entirety of the book, so you can really see if it's going to work for you. And I can already tell just by hovering over things that they are clickable in this table of contents, which we absolutely love. It makes it easier to jump around. They've got a timeline in here for Khorvaire, and then it goes right into the Strong Arm Artificer. So it says, as the last war raged, medical tents across Khorvaire were flooded with people who'd lost arms and legs. Houses Durasco and Cannith discovered that combining healing with cutting-edge artifice allowed them to replace missing limbs with artificial constructions of wood and metal. Many were grateful for this restored functionality, but a few saw potential for more. Strong Arms improved drastically on the base design and quickly came to inspire fear and awe with their mechanically enhanced limbs capable of crushing bone and bending metal. With the war over, many strong arms hide what they are in public, their enhancements a reminder of the war most people would rather forget. Others put their strength to use in fighting pits and as enforcers. Almost all continue to tinker, ever improving on the merger of man and machine. And then there's a whole D6 table for the reason, for your replacement limb. And of course the features. So I just wanted to give you a taste of that one. We're going to find some features to read, but I want to, since we can see the whole book, I want to give you sampling of other things that are in here. So Path of the Undaunted says, barbarians who follow the path of the Undaunted have channeled their rage and willpower not into offense, but into defense. When the last war moved from open fields and forts to the towns and cities of Corvair, a new kind of soldier was required. The Undaunted plant themselves in gates, doorways, and other defensive points, presenting an unmoving wall of fury to their foes. So let's read a few of the features here. So it says, bolstering rage, which is 3rd level. Your rage bolsters your allies as well as yourself. While raging, you can use your bonus action to choose a creature within 5 feet of you. Until the start of your next turn, hostile creatures have disadvantage on melee attack rolls against you and the target creature. And then you can use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you get those back when you finish a long rest. So we'll skip a couple abilities and look at the last one. It says 14th level, Unbreakable. Your defense becomes as lethal as your offense. When a melee attack misses you by 5 or more, you can make an opportunity attack against the creature that attacked you. If your opportunity attack hits, you deal an extra 1d10 damage of the weapon's type. So some nice extra damage there on your capstone ability. Let me scroll through a little more here. There is a lot of graphics in this, so I think it scrolls a little slow, but that's okay. Once you've downloaded the full thing, it'll be faster. So we've got Cleric Ancestral Domain. All Valinor warriors are guided by their ancestors, the shades of elven heroes long since dead. The Valinor honor these ancestors by emulating their deeds and personas, bringing a spark of their might into the world of the living in the process. During the last war, some opponents of Valinor warbands swore they rode in the company of ghosts. Even shades were seen guiding their hands and turning aside blows. So, interesting background for the clerics. And they've got this feature at 1st level, Power of the Ancestors. Your cleric training involves forging a bond with the spirit of an ancient elven hero. Choose the sage, the strategist, or the warrior. So you get to pick a different hero to inspire you, granting you benefits. So we'll just read one of those, but again, you can read the whole book. So I encourage you to come read all the different heroes that can inspire this particular subclass. So this is the Sage. Your ancestral spirit was a master of magical arts. When you cast a cleric spell, you can choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Magical from your spell arcs. The creature force damage your cleric. Oh, okay. So I think that's cut off a little bit by the art, maybe, because that doesn't make sense. But let's read the other one. The strategist, your ancestral spirit was a master of war tactics. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can forego one of your attacks to direct a friendly creature within 30 feet of you who can see or hear you. That creature can immediately use this reaction to make one weapon attack. That's cool. So you get a friendly creature to be able to make a weapon attack if you're inspired by the strategist. So, and that mixed up text there, I'm sure they can fix that and upload a new version. That's the beauty of digital stuff, is you're not stuck to whatever you're seeing on screen. If there's an issue, you can just download a new version, because a lot of the authors on here will update that for you. But yeah, these look really cool. Lots of fun, different archetypes or subclasses, if you will, and lots of beautiful art throughout, very nicely laid out. So it looks like a fun book, and there's no reason not to check it out, because you're going to get to read the whole thing if you want to before you purchase it. So why not give it a click? It's in the video description links under Blademark's Guide to the Last War. Check it out. All right, next we have Expanded Psionics Booklet from Team Walrus Designs and author Daryl Dominguez, $4.95 for 17 pages. says, all that you know is only the beginning. Increase your knowledge of psionics with this expansion to the psychic class, which is another book from this publisher. Discover new magic items, races, subclasses, and powers that will challenge your knowledge of the power of the mind and expand your game. So you get a psionic race, which I don't believe you need the other book for, and then 4 psionic subclasses. One's for the fighter, one's for the barbarian, and 2 for the psychic. So for those 2 subclasses, I think you'd need the psychic class. And then you got 5 feats, 5 psionic foci, 5 psionic talents, 17 psionic powers, 4 magic items. And there's a whole series of books from Team Walrus focused on psionics. So this publisher and author really have a passion for psionics. So if you're looking to expand the psionic availability in your game, look no further, because if someone is devoting this much time and this many published works to psionics, they obviously are into it, they're passionate about it. So I feel like this is going to be a really strong source for that kind of stuff. So looking inside, you can see that they've got this cool race right off the bat called the Cerebromorph. And it says it's a creature who has partially undergone an incomplete process to become an illithid and is now trapped somehow between both worlds. It says everyone has heard the stories about creatures that devour brains and control the minds of the victims with ease, creatures living in the dark corners of the world preying on the weak. These creatures reproduce by inserting illithid tadpoles into the brains of their victims that slowly changes their biology, transforming them into illithids. And there's more history here, but we're going to jump to the traits. So you get 30 feet speed, dark vision, and then something called innate psionics. The larva within you grants you basic psionic powers. This psionic power allows you to manifest the basic telekinesis psionic talent. When you reach 3rd level, you can manifest the charm psionic power. Finally, at 5th level, you can manifest the telepathic explosion power. In addition, when you reach 3rd level, you gain 2 psionic energy dice, which are d6s. These dice are used to fuel your powers. A psionic energy die is expended when you use it. You regain your spent psionic energy die when you finish a long rest. At 5th level, you gain another 2 of those. And then you get to pick which ability score you're going to use for your psionic ability. Then you've got mental fortitude. You have advantage on all saving throws to prevent your mind from being read. And psychic intrusion. When you reach 3rd level, you can manifest the real mind psionic power once with this trait, and you regain the ability to manifest it when you finish a long rest. You can also manifest this power using any psionic energy dice you have. So it ties nicely with your innate psionics. And so again, this really has an emphasis on psionics, which is fun, and I like that there's a race with psionics connected to it, because that could be another way to engage psionics. Maybe you just want like a hint of psionics in your game. You don't want every character to have psionics or all the villains to have it. You just want a sprinkling. Well, a race might be a good way to do that, because you saw they're only getting like 3 or 4 psionic options total. So that means you know it's not like 400 different psionic abilities happening. But you can go further with subclasses here, like the Path of the Kineticist. It says followers of the Path of the Kineticist are ravaging beings that have discovered a way of turning pain into power. These ferocious barbarians become stronger the more damage they take, leading to why followers of this path are sparse at best. So that's cool too. Just cool descriptions in here for some of these psionic things. I mean, I think we're just starved for it, right? There just isn't much official psionic goodness. So having books like this is cool. So one more thing, and then we'll move to the next book. So you've got some feats. One of them is Mind Blast. So you have to be a Cerebromorph and have the ability to manifest telepathic explosion. It says your illithid psiology has enhanced your natural psionic abilities to the point you can also stun enemies. When you manifest your telepathic explosion psionic power, you can choose to deal no damage, but instead have creatures that fail their saving throw be stunned for 1 minute. A creature can make a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. So cool, and I love the artwork in here too. Nice depictions of psionic activity. And there's even some information, design notes in the back from the publisher. So I really think you need to check it out. It's in the video description links under Expanded Psionics Booklet. Give it a click. Next we have Eyes, Scales, and Stones from Eternal Realms, $3.99 for 139 pages. And it says it's surrounding the famous and iconic beholders, dragons, and giants with lots of character options and monsters. So you get 6 new race options, 7 class options, and 123 monsters, as well as expanded pantheons for dragons, beholders, and giants. So, you know, lots of things to use. I mean, 123 new monsters is no joke. So let's take a look inside. Backgrounds, it starts off with the soulless, and then you've got a bunch of races, everything from the beholderkin, half giant, ogrekin, dragonborn of Bahamut. You've got class information for, it looks like 6 different classes, and then a ton of monsters starting with ash giant all the way through to vodkin. I'm not sure what the CR spread is for these monsters, but there's quite a few of them, so I'm guessing there's a good representation of different CR levels, which is cool. So I'm just scrolling through so you can see what's available in the preview. You get to learn about draconic ancestry for the Dragonborn, child of a 𝘎𝙤𝙠𝙨, the Beholderkin, and then what we're going to look in detail at is the background of the Soulless. It says, ages ago, a demonic dragon called a 𝘎𝙤𝙠𝙨 brought destruction across the land, while a twisted cult worshipped him as a god. The cult of 𝘎𝙤𝙠𝙨 formed their central temple in Nightfang Spire, a massive stone structure spanning 1,600 feet into the air. The cult's leader, a man called Golthius, served as the mediator between the 𝘎𝙤𝙠𝙨 and his insane followers. So skipping ahead a little bit, it says there was a phenomenon created called soul sickness, a cataclysm where creatures are thrust into existence without souls. You are one of them. Now you must learn to live your life without a crucial part of your being. So that's interesting. Normally it's like a lost soul, but this is the opposite. There's not a soul at all. So you get proficiency in intimidation and 2 others that don't rely on charisma. You get a set of artisan tools, a disguise kit, and a poisoner's kit, and some basic equipment. And then it says feature emptiness. You lack emotion and compassion. You are immune to being tortured, or being hurt emotionally or mentally. It says you are resistant to psychic damage. And then you've got the personality table. So we're just going to we're going to roll a 1, 2, 3, and 4 to just get us some sample text from each one. So the personality trait, we're going to pretend to roll a 1. It says, I find it difficult to concentrate on things that don't interest me, which would make sense. If you don't have a soul, you might just be kind of adrift, right? And then ideal, we're going to pretend to roll a 2, so it's destruction. If I can't have a soul, no one else can. So maybe you're angry about the fact that you're soulless. And then for bond, we're going to roll a 3. Relationships seem so trivial, I cannot carry the weight of both someone else along with myself. So this person is hard, you know, they just can't bond well with people. They're angry, and they don't really form relationships, it seems like. And then for flaw, we're going to roll a 4. Being careless is something that happens to me naturally. So this person is also careless, but maybe because they're just not focused, right? They're kind of adrift, and they're not making connections, and so that lack of focus is causing them to be careless sometimes. So yeah, this is fun, interesting stuff. There's so much in here. And it has a really cool layout. And I mean, 123 new monsters. You always need more of those. So check it out. It's under Eyes, Scales, and Stones in the links below. Give it a click. Next, we have a Fiendish Tower Defense, a low-level adventure from Bob World Builder, $4.99 for 10 pages. And it says author Amber Litke. And it says the town of Ashdale, nestled among volcanic mountains, is facing a fiendish threat. Stubborn to a fault, the townsfolk would rather defend their increasingly hellish home than move elsewhere, and they have hired powerful heroes to save the day. Your party, on the other hand, has been tasked by Ashdale's mayor with checking on the wide-eyed watchman posted at a nearby tower. The simple errand turns into a daring defense as the fiends close end. And this is an incendiary 5th edition adventure designed for one session of low-level play in any fantasy setting. So you got a quest summary for easy prep, role-play notes for the detailed NPC, Lucas the Watchman, combat notes for the new monster, which is called the Impish Trickster, new magic item called Echo Spyglass, random volcanic hazards, a simple map, multiple versions, VTT maps, and tokens. So fun stuff in here. Let's take a look inside. I do like this post-it note style outline here. That's really cool. Good amount of background. Yeah, I think it's really easy to read the text the way they pulled it together, which is so great. You know, in the middle of running something, you don't want to be breaking out the magnifying glass trying to read, and you can't really find what you need in a hurry to respond to the players at your table, right? Some cool pictures in here to go along with some of these new things, like the Impish Trickster. Says this little fiend is quite the troublemaker. Its favorite activity is to torment mortals by sneaking around or lying in wait to spring flames and illusions on unsuspecting victims. That's cool. And then you've got the Echo Spyglass. This weathered brass spyglass vibrates almost imperceptibly. While looking through the spyglass, you have advantage on perception checks that rely on sight. In addition, you can use an action to gain blindside out to a range of 30 feet for 1 minute when looking through the spyglass. Once you use this feature of the spyglass, it can't be used until the next dawn. So that's cool. And it's nice that they have so many cool little details about this NPC here. I like that. And that, I mean, look at that map with all the lava. That looks awesome. All right, so let's scroll back up and read a little bit of one of the flavor text boxes. So it says, the road leads northeast toward a black stone tower that juts up from the earth. Surrounded by lava, the tower's small isle has 2 additional bridges leading to the north and northwest, which have been hastily barricaded. Then, from atop the tower, a sooty-faced young man with tousled blonde hair calls down, "Ho there, you aren't fiends. Pleasure to meet you. Ow. Do you think you could lend me a hand?" So that is the young human, Lucas Halfin. And he is the Watchman. And that's who the party is sent to assist here in dealing with these fiends. So this looks like it's going to be pretty fun, I think. Yeah. I think it's cool, and I like the name, Tower Defense, a Fiendish Tower Defense, because you think of like tower defense games, which is like a type of video game involving towers and things. But yeah, Lucas looks kind of like a cool character here, and as I said, you're getting a lot of information about that character. So some role play notes, like things that he loves or dreams about or fears, and they're in the form of dialogue. So then you can also quote those as you portray Lucas. But yeah, they've got this nice sort of map of the tower here over the lava and all the bridges. So I think you're gonna have a lot of fun, especially with these impish things running around. And it's a one shot, so it's perfect to just get in, get out, have a fun evening of D&D, and then leave it behind if you want to, or use it as a jumping off point for more fun. So look for it in the video description. Links is under A Fiendish Tower Defense. Give it a click. Next we have Flower, 5e Plants Reimagined, and it's $7.95 for 55 pages. And it says, D&D 5e only has a few dozen plant creatures, many of which are underdeveloped with only middling uniqueness. So this book is designed to breathe new life into the plant creature type with new and improved statistics for 5th edition. So you have 10 plant creatures basically that are reimagined here from 5th edition official wizard stuff. And then you've got 40 brand new ones including some that are converted from prior editions. And then you've got a new player race called the 𝙤𝙤𝙠𝙨, and then 8 new plant-themed spells. So you can always use more spells. And this artwork is really nice. The layout is beautiful. You got the 𝙤𝙤𝙀 here, which is some cool, cute artwork to go with it. There isn't a full-size preview, so we're going to just look at some of the images here on the page. So we can zoom in to look at some of these, but I mean, just scrolling here, the Spine Fondler, cool artwork for that. 𝙤𝙤𝙀, cool artwork. 𝙤𝙤𝙀, I mean, they're all really well illustrated. And so it looks like the 𝙤𝙤𝙀 is a race that you can play. So that's really cool. And then you got this 𝙤𝙤𝙀 down here, which just really my eyes are drawn to. So let's read that. It says, small thorned warriors, 𝙤𝙤𝙀s are fey-born plant creatures with the hearts of conquerors. Their militant society leads them in never-ending march for dominance against the forces of both the Feywild and the material plane. 𝙤𝙤𝙀s take after their namesake in appearance. They're thistle-like, with stumpy limbs and wild petal hair. And then it talks about deep within the Feywild, beyond a land of dense thorns and choking briars, lies Castle Artichoke, a towering fortress of thorned bark that serves as the seat of power for the Fey realm's most highfalutin archfey, 𝙤𝙤𝙀 the Warthorn. It says 𝙤𝙤𝙀 is the father of all 𝙤𝙤𝙀s, growing them en masse in the bowels of Castle Artichoke. He is their dispassionate father and fervent general. After they're grown, they're endlessly drilled on tactics of war before being sorted into battalions under trained commanders and sent out to the dozens of war fronts waged by 𝙤𝙤𝙀 at any one time. So really fun backstory for this. And they're just CR 114. So they're not crazy powerful, right? They're enough to be interesting. And I could just see people getting bothered by these, trying to get through the Feywild, or maybe they're near a Fey portal, and so one of these sort of battalions that 𝙤𝙤𝙀 has put together is there for whatever reason, and so they're getting in the way, and it's complications like that you need if you're crafting stories. And so having plant creatures, I think, is so great, because there's always plants. I mean, unless you're in a really rocky place or an inhospitable elemental plane or something, and there's just always going to be plants going on. So why not have more plant creatures that you can just easily drop in? I would say more easily than some other creature types, because some creature types, they're really kind of locked into certain environments, whereas plants, like I said, they're going to be in most places. I mean, this 𝙤𝙤𝙀, I could even see it, in a desert, right? I wouldn't see it underwater, but I could see it in a desert, a forest, a grassland, the Feywild. I mean, so many places. So anyway, it's got some interesting traits here. It says featherweight when the 𝙤𝙤𝙀 falls, its rate of descent is 60 feet per round. When it lands, it takes no falling damage and can land on its feet. And it has a hazardous body. A creature that touches the 𝙤𝙤𝙀 or hits it with a melee attack while within 5 feet of it takes piercing damage. And then it can speak with beasts or plants as if it shares a language. So that could be fun too. And these things, they're small, so they could be maybe something that you hear or trying to communicate with you before you see them. You're like, what is talking to me? Right? So that could be really fun as well. But I like it. I think, more plants, the better. So check it out. It's under flower in the links below, and give it a click. Next we have Glyph Trickster by Eric Rise. It's $4.95 for 9 pages, and we've talked about this series before, and I really enjoy it. I've purchased almost all the titles in the series myself, because I think it has a lot of versatility, because what these glyphs are is enhancements to things. So you can slap them on things like weapons, armor, all that stuff in this particular book. But there's other books in the series that are about enhancing spells. But what I like to always say about this series and remind folks is that these are perfect little snippets of things that you can use to improve anything, whether it's, you know, a magical effect by touching something, or something that happens to an NPC, or something that an NPC does, or you know, just a random magical thing. You know, some of them are, especially the spell ones, are tied very closely to the existing effects of a spell, so they're not all portable. But I mean, I like to think of the series as like a book of effects that you can use as written, as glyphs that you can basically overlay onto the abilities of a piece of armor or weapon, and you can come up with your own way as to how those are obtained. There are suggestions here from the author on how to do that and how to customize them. But when you get down here into the weeds, there's just so many options, and some of them are tied to certain schools of magic, so you can work that angle as well. So you've got the Glyph of the Serpent's Bite right off the bat. It's for armor. It says, while you are poisoned, you no longer have disadvantage on attack rolls, and your melee weapon attacks deal an extra 1d4 poison damage, and then it increases as you level. So it's really nicely scalable with that damage. And then another one over here, a Glyph of Misdirection. It's for a weapon. Whenever you are targeted by a melee attack, you can use your reaction to redirect the attack to a different creature within 5 feet of you. The creature you chose becomes the new target for the attack. So pretty cool to have like a reaction set up for you. Glyph of the Substitute. It's Glyph for armor. As a bonus action, you can swap places with a willing creature you can see within 10 feet of you. So again, portable, right? That's perfect for armor, but there could be something else. Maybe it's a coin that has this effect, or you know, a charm, or it could be a potion you drink. You know, there's so many ways with these sort of portable effects in this series to just add something special. Maybe you've got an idea for something, you know, you have this whole history of an item and you can't think of the mechanics. So this series is really great to flip through and give you ideas, or just, like I said, take it and use it. I mean, that's all books for 5th edition are really meant to be interactive. They can be used as is, and should sometimes, but you should never be afraid with 5th edition materials to adapt and inspire yourself. So gotta love this book and this series. I recommend the whole thing. And it's under Glyph. This one's under Glyph Trickster in the links below. Give it a click. Next we have Orphans of the Multiverse, Lost in Barovia. It says stay in Barovia a little longer with this Curse of Strahd supplement, featuring quests around 5 new NPCs from official settings across the multiverse. It's by Jesse E. Olson, $9.95 for 49 pages. And yeah, it's for 5th edition. Let's look inside here there's a publisher preview for this one. So when you click on that, it's going to take you to the special preview, and you get to see 18 pages. But it goes through how to use the supplement, general considerations, what the commonalities are between the orphans, the connections between them. If you want to make it like almost like a campaign, you could. Then it goes into each of the orphans. There's one called Kaylee Forest Watcher, and then Miriani Raymere, Jovi Omiros, etc. And for each of them, you get background, how they got into the mist, the first encounter, and then story threads. So in the first one, there's 4 options, and the second one, there's 5 options for story threads. So at least multiple options for each one. But yeah, really nice layout, really easy to read, how to use it. It says, it is a resource for you, the Dungeon Master, particularly if you and your players are looking to spend a bit more time in this setting, meaning Ravenloft and Barovia. Or if you are perhaps unsure of whether the original adventure might be too difficult or too easy for a particular group of characters, you can insert any or all of the 5 NPC orphans contained here to either assist or oppose the characters and adjust difficulty at virtually any point in the game. It also provides additional story threads. So if you and the players wish to expand and extend your Curse of Strahd campaign, you can do that with this. And I think it's important to call out, you know, like the phrase orphan, or the term orphan here, is really not necessarily that they are truly orphaned, but that they're here in this place. People end up and find themselves in Ravenloft unknowingly, that they basically just been transported there somehow, walked through some fog or mist or whatever, and then there they are, and they can't get back to the material plane. So it says, what do adventurers do when they survive an attack having seen their friends fall by blade, claw, or fang? Perhaps they are motivated and charged with a sense of vengeance for a time, but what comes next? Do they suffer feelings of regret at failing to save their fellow adventurers, or do they perhaps feel unbearable guilt for bringing their comrades to this place in the first instance? Those who live long enough inevitably realize that revenge against the realm's monsters and repentance for their own actions will never send them home. They are cursed with this nightmare for the rest of their days. These are the orphans of the multiverse. Many have fallen to hopelessness, in some part forgetting who they were and from where they came. They have surrendered to living out their lives among the soulless of the land. Can their spirits be reignited by the spark of new arrivals to the realm? Can these orphans be reminded of who they once were? So yeah, again, you're kind of adrift as an orphan, in quotes. And some of them, it says, have gone mad. So yeah, you're going to find out about all the different ones. And then here you get this table of them. And the first one, 𝙬𝙤, the goal is cleanse the land of evil, bring peace, healing, and hope. We'll fight 𝙬𝙗. The second one, the goal is to survive, repair the ship, and escape. So different goals, right? And they've got traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, all that stuff. And then it shows you how they might be incorporated into Curse of Strahd. So I think this is really cool. I mean, this preview shows a lot of good stuff too. You can really read through, see what their stat blocks look like. And these stat blocks are, I'm just realizing, they grow. So this first one, it looks like, is a level 3 for 𝙬𝙤. But then there's a level 7 one. So as the adventure goes on, these NPCs are getting stronger too. Because she starts at a CR 1/2, becomes a CR 2 by level 7. And then level 10, CR 4, etc. So you can see how that would be really helpful. And these characters don't have to be confined to Curse of Strahd. They can be other adventures in Barovia, other adventures in the Shadowfell, maybe even outside of that. In any case, it's a lot of material that I think is really well done, and you should check it out. So look for it under Orphans of the Multiverse in the links below and give it a click. Next, we have Realms of Legends, Mythical Heroes from Yellow Byte Studios, $14.95 for 155 pages. And it says you'll find many new options, including races, classes, subclasses, spells, legendary artifacts, and mythical heroes, all inspired by the ancient myths and legends that have shaped cultures throughout history. So you get 6 mythical races, 5 heroic classes, 10 mythic subclasses, 50 epic spells from cantrips to the 9th level, 32 mythic artifacts, and the recommended reward level for each one, 15 legendary heroes along with lore, myths, and stat blocks, 6 completely fleshed out adventures. So very cool. And it looks like it covers so many different mythologies. So Greek, Norse, Egyptian, Arthurian, Mayan, Japanese, Chinese, Hindu, Aztec, African, Maori, and more. So it's really going to be a cross-section of cultures. And, the artwork looks really fun as well. So it starts with the mythical races, then it gets into these heroic classes like the Hoplite and the Viking, Priestess of Ra, and then you get your spells, and then a bunch of artifacts like the Shield of Achilles and the Horn Crown of the 𝙁𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗. And then you got heroes, everything from Achilles, Sigurd, Hercules, Gilgamesh, Rama, Lancelot, Robin Hood, Icarus. I mean, a bunch of famous Mulan, Perseus. They're in here, and then a bunch of adventures as well, like the Trials of Olympus and the Lost City of Xibalba. So I mean, you're getting a ton of different things for your money here. It talks about embracing mythology, exploring cultural diversity, and all of that here. Mythical races, and the Valkyrie. a lot of information. I mean, you don't get this much information normally with races. And so I appreciate that there's, it looks like 4 or 5 pages here on just the Valkyrie. So it says, in the realms of Norse-inspired mythology, Valkyries were revered as formidable warriors, handpicked by the gods to serve a noble purpose. These fierce and courageous women embodied the ideals of honor, bravery, and protection. With their unrivaled combat prowess and supernatural abilities, Valkyries inspired awe and respect among their allies and adversaries alike. Gifted with the power of flight, they soared through the heavens, surveying the world below with keen eyes and swift wings. Their existence was intertwined with the fabric of ancient tales, while their name became synonymous with indomitable strength and unwavering loyalty. So yeah, Valkyries are cool. I've always enjoyed them. They were in the New Mutants comics, which I used to read a lot, and that was fun. And of course Thor, right, has Valkyries as well. And then you get physical description, history and lore, society, a bunch of names, and then you get into the traits. So it says they get ability score increase, talks about age, alignment, size, speed. Take flight, you have a pair of ethereal wings that allow you to fly for short durations once per long rest. You may gain a flying speed of 30 feet when not wearing heavy armor or carrying a heavy load for 1 minute. You have proficiency with longsword, short sword, spear, and shield. You have advantage on perception checks that rely on sight or hearing. You have an innate sense that warns you of impending danger. You can add your wisdom modifier to initiative rolls. You can speak, read, and write common and 1 extra language. And then you choose one of the sub-races. And they have Shield Maiden is one of them, and Sky Ranger. So you get a battle cry with Shield Maiden and the Mist Veil with Sky Ranger. So with Battle Cry, it's a reaction that you can let out a powerful battle cry that grants you and allies within 30 feet advantage on their next saving throw against being frightened or charmed. You can use this ability once, and you regain it after finishing a short or long rest. I'll let you read some of the other traits on your own, but I mean, I think having stat blocks for famous characters is going to be awesome. Not to mention 6 adventures, 32 artifacts, 50 spells. I mean, this book is jam-packed full of things, so you might as well give it a look by looking for the link in the video description. It's under Realms of Legends, Mythical Heroes. Give it a click. Next, we have Tasha's Supernatural Travelogue, Explore the Magic of Fantastic Regions. It's from Paolo Devolio and 𝙤𝙤𝙩𝙀 Design, the team behind the Honkonomicon. $4.95 for 43 pages. And it says it's got 11 exciting supernatural regions built around common fantasy tropes like fiendish corruption or necromantic power, so you can fit them easily into your adventure. So Tasha's Cauldron of Everything started kind of going into some of these fantasy tropes, and so this is meant to align with that. So if you have that book, it can expand what's in there. Now you don't need that book to use this one, but it is a nice sort of partner to the official release. It says 200 plus different unique events to enhance your game and make the notion of magic come to life. 5 new intriguing magic items of diverse varieties focused on supernatural exploration. Variant rules about magic of supernatural regions to enable characters to wield the power of regional magic for themselves. A detailed DM guide on how best to implement these fantastic locations in your games. And then suggestions and recommendations on how to use the regions in 25 different official adventures and settings. So that's a lot of options for this. And that's really cool. It says no AI generate content as well. So that's nice. And it's hyperlinked table of contents and bookmark PDF. And it lists the different supernatural regions here. So again, these are in chapter 4 of Tasha's Cauldron. But you've got the Awakened Library, the Crawling Cold, the Draconic Resonance, all the way down to Scars of War and Space-Time Distortion. So you can see kind of how they're going to tie it into those themes as well. But all these books here listed at the bottom, official books, and how to use these regions with those. That's really cool. Because they didn't have to do that, but that's nice to help you make further use of things you've already sunk money into. That's always cool, in my opinion. So yeah, you got all these regions, and it goes into each of those: the supernatural travelogue, the adventure travelogue, etc. So exploring supernatural regions, what is a region, how to pace it, all that stuff. And then here are the regions listed again, and then the region like Blessed Radiance. The themes of it are celestials, radiant energy, upper planes. Haunted is haunting, sinister influences, dark emotions. And it talks about how to explore them, what the pacing should be, and when to use it. Because sometimes, maybe you don't need to focus on the region, more on the story, right? So you can see 21 pages here. So we'll just look at the Awakened library here. It says every book, even the simplest one, has its own purpose and holds a cosmos of knowledge and meaning. When a great amount of writings are kept together, they can start to develop a consciousness and grow their unique brand of magic. An Awakened library might come to be because of a hoarding of magical power, the presence of lingering psionic energies, or even just because the knowledge contained within it has been forming a mind of its own. Consider rolling on the Awakened library effects table when the following circumstances occur in the region. A creature reads a spell scroll, or another kind of magical writing. One or more creatures research something in the library. A creature casts a divination spell. A creature picks up, damages, or destroys a book. So yeah, those could trigger different things, and then you get this D100 table to show like all these potential unique events that could happen in that region. So first one is a spell scroll at the DM's choice that was hidden in the library spontaneously casts itself, like Bestow Curse, Sleep, Stinking Cloud. And it says, but if you choose a fire-based or lightning-based spell, consider the risk of the fire, especially if you're in an Awakened library, right? There's lots of things that are flammable. So let's pick another one. It says, the library's shelves and alleys move around, turning the region into a labyrinth. For the next 24 hours, a creature needs a survival check to move around the library. On a failure, the creature can't find its way, and you roll again on this table. So yeah, that could be fun. Just keep going through this shifting sort of library. And then the last one is the characters stumble into a book. This is a powerful magic item, like a Tome of Clear Thought, a Manual of Golems, or even a Book of Vile Darkness. There could be a dangerous creature like an iron golem or a pit devil that is protecting the book or looking for it themselves. So yeah, those all make sense. And there's a lot of libraries that you could have, and it doesn't even have to be an Awakened library. It could be just a magical library. Although the Awakened library is cool. And then it goes into Crawling Cold. You can see all the different things that could happen there, and Draconic Resonance. So you're going to see quite a few of the region. Dreams of the Tides, and the Elemental Clash. So we'll just read a couple effects from Elemental Clash here. It says a wave of extreme cold or extreme heat suddenly hits the region for up to 20 hours. And then another one is a rift to the elemental chaos opens in a location. Each creature within 20 feet of it makes a dex saving throw, taking damage of a random elemental type on a failure or half as much damage on a success. The rift lasts for 1d20 hours, is a two-way portal, and crossing it leads to a random elemental plane. Elemental creatures on the other side could try to cross through. So yeah, these can inspire full adventures or just be random events that unfurl in front of your party. So I love that it's themed along the Tasha stuff, and even just has Tasha's name in the title. That's cool too, because that's a really fun character to go back to. I like it. So look for it in the video description links under Tasha's Supernatural Travelogue and give it a click. Next we have Unearthed Spoils Volume 1 from Grimm Press, and it's Spellbound Spelunking is the topic for this issue of this zine. It's $9.99 for 31 pages. Authors Sandy Lawson, Sandy Koch, and Trevor Armstrong. So in this particular issue, you get the Shadow Domain, which is for clerics. You get the Circle of Stones for druids. You get the background for the miner. You get some spelunking spells, deep magic items, and some living nightmares, a roster of creatures you don't want to meet but inevitably will in the Underdeep, as well as a 9th level adventure. So a nice mixture of things to bring to your table. So here's the Shadow Domain. That looks cool. And the Circle of Stones. And then you got the background, the minor, and then you get into some spells. So let's read one of those. So I like the name of this one, Spore Spray. It's a 2nd level necromancy. It says it's casting time of 1 action, range of self, and instantaneous. It says for druid, sorcerer, wizard, you wave your hand palm outwards across your upper body, and a burst of dusty spores spreads out in a 15-foot cone anchored on you. Each creature in the cone must make a con saving throw or take poison damage and be infected with fungal spore disease until cured. On a success, they take half damage and don't contract the disease. It causes the creature to have unsightly pale fungal growths in patches and random places on their body. The disease limits a creature's speed to half, and while a creature is infected, it can't take reactions during its turn. It can take an action or a bonus action, but not both. And if it becomes unconscious, the effect ends. Then you've got these deep magic items down here, like the Amulet of Clever Terrain, and Boots of the Umbral Knight, and the Charlatan's Cowl. Dagger of the Necron, Ghostly Goggles. That sounds fun. While attuned to this item, you can see into the border or ethereal plane up to a range of 90 feet. Any creature that you can see on the another plane can also see you. You can target a creature in the border or ethereal that is within range, and you can see, and that creature can target you. And then for Amulet of Clever Terrain, it's rare. Requires attunement. While attuned to this item, you can use the amulet's illusion magic to transform yourself into an innocuous part of the landscape. Choose an object of a similar size to you that makes sense in the current landscape, such as a field stone, pile of rocks, tree, cactus, log, or patch of flowers, etc. You can use an action to make yourself appear as that item and become unheard and unseen for as long as you remain quiet and still. The effect ends when you speak, move, cast a spell, or attack. Your deck's stealth rolls become 20 until you end the effect. The illusion won't work on a creature with blindsight if you attempt the transformation when in its range, nor will it work on a creature that can see you and is looking at you when you transform. Physical interaction with you will reveal the illusion. A creature that uses action to examine you can determine that it's an illusion with a successful investigation check. And it regains its feature during a long or short rest. Yeah, that could be fun too. I like all these, and they seem to all fit this, spelunking theme that they have for this issue. These sort of zine style publications are great because you get just such a mixture of things. You're not tied to it being one big adventure, so you can just pluck pieces out of here and use them where it's appropriate or where you want to, and just try it out and see if it works, and then it could become part of your repertoire. For your games, if it works out, or maybe it's a one-off, but still, it's fun that you have those options by buying a book like this. So look for it under Unearthed Spoils in the links below and give it a click. All right, now we come to that part in our program where we give shout-outs to other titles that released recently that we don't have time to talk about in depth. So let's get started with those. First up, we have Magical Secrets 58 Bard Spells from Cantrips to 9th level. And as the title suggests, it's spells, 43 pages for $5.80. Then we've got the Ainorian Compendium for 5th edition, which has classes, races, and weapons. It's 290 pages on sale for $21.25. Then we've got Anime-Inspired Magic Items Volume 1, and that includes magic items, of course, and it is 7 pages for a suggested price of $4.99. Then we've got Beyond Corny Grown Adventurer's Guide, and that is a system-neutral reference document for $20.35 for a whopping 340 pages, and it's a pretty cool-looking system, or setting, I should say. Next, we have Building an Inn, Lodging and Related Services by Gabrielo Despent. It's 21 pages for $3.99 on sale. And next, we have Chrono Breaker Fighter Archetype. And as the name suggests, it's a subclass for fighters. 5 pages by Crit Academy for $2.95. Then we've got Curse of Straw Death House Revamped. It is $4.95 for 26 pages. Daedern's Tall Tales Desert Encounters Volume 2 by Wyatt Troll is $4.95 for 12 pages, and this is a book full of encounters. We've got Evard's Encyclopedia of Magic. It's $10.99 for 76 pages, and it's filled with spells. Then we've got, for Iron Kingdoms setting, it is Exemplar, which is a martial archetype subclass, basically, $1.99 for 8 pages. Then we've got Kuldahar for the Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden. It's basically chapter 4 of that book. It's $3.95 for 14 pages, and it is basically prep for that adventure, or reference for that adventure as well. Then we've got Lair of the Frog God, which is $3 for 12 pages, and it's system neutral. It's an adventure, and it has some new monsters. Then we've got The Nun, which is a divine class for horror-themed 5th edition campaigns. And it is 99 cents, which is a really low price for this, 34 pages. Then we've got Psychonaut, a psychical exploration #1. It's $4.99 for 53 pages, and it's got psionic stuff, classes, and monsters. Then we've got Recharge for Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse. It's $3.95 for 21 pages, and it's about bringing those recharge abilities to monsters in that book that do not have them. So check that out. Then we've got Rot, Pox, and Worm, Adventuring Diseases. $1.47 for 22 pages of this OSR goodness. And yeah, it's just all about different diseases and things that you can encounter in an OSR way. And I feel like, having looked at it a little bit, that it would probably work for 5th edition in a lot of ways as well. Next we have Trinkets of the Old Empires, $1.50 for 11 pages. And it's for Forgotten Realms with trinkets and items. And then we have The World is Your Garden, an herbalism, poison, and alchemy travel guide. And yeah, it's just as the name says, it gives you crafting options, poisons, all that good stuff for $2. Suggested price, 20 pages. So that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment. I will respond to all those personally, and share the video out there with your friends if you can. The more eyeballs we can get on these third-party titles, the more it's going to help creators out there keep the lights on. Also, thank you so much for supporting this show, and please click the links in the video description to support these creators by purchasing their books. Leave them reviews, subscribe to their social media, all that good stuff. Any way you can help, it's gonna help. And if you purchase anything after clicking those links, you're going to help support the channel through a small affiliate fee. So we'd love it if you could bookmark one of those and do your shopping through our bookmarks, so that we always get a small affiliate fee when you do. And if you really want to support us, we've got 7 books we've released down in the video description as well, including Platinum best-selling Dragonlance Companion and our Mithril best-selling Feywild Companion. Plus, we've got a 2-book Kickstarter coming later this year, which is a setting plus an adventure. So you want to make sure you're following us everywhere at Splinterverse so you can be the first to hear about what that's going to be about. And I can't wait to unveil the secrets involved in that particular project. It's exciting. I wish I could say more now, but I can't. We are deep into it at the moment, creating it, and it's just fun. That's all I can say. All right, well, my tip for creators this week is to Google your work. After you've published it, Google it, see what's out there. Sometimes you'll find really interesting things, whether it's somebody talking about your work so you can get some feedback, or potentially some piracy that you might need to report, all kinds of things. And it's a great kind of mirror to see what is going on out there, and you may discover other works that way too. I definitely recommend it for all your titles, and of course, pay attention to the comments. Respond to the comments of people asking questions about your products. That's very, very important. If you're not responsive, I've seen people comment again saying, the authors are not responding, I'm not going to purchase. So you've got to make sure you've got notifications turned on these sites if you are a creator. Well, those are my tips for this week. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy adventuring.